So now that we have our basic layout with our servos connected, our breadboard mount, as well as our ultrasound sensors in the road of our bridge, we can go ahead and start wiring the west side. But first, we're going to go ahead and take our breadboard and our Arduino board, and we're going to need to attach our Arduino board to the back of our breadboard. So I'm just going to use a little piece of tape and wrap it around itself, stick it on the back of the breadboard or the Arduino board, and then stick that onto the breadboard. So you can use hot glue or whatever else you have available to you. And then we just need to make sure we're getting our orientation correct. So I'm going to want our digital pins, so our pins 0 through 13 facing up, and our breadboard with our low numbers on the left-hand side. So when we do it, we want to kind of match our numbers. So pin 0 is going to be close to the lower number pins. So that's going to be somewhere around pin 20, and then pin 13 is going to be somewhere around pin 40 or so. And we can just attach it to the back, just like that. And now we can go ahead and start wiring our LEDs. So for this, we're going to need our 3 LEDs. So our yellow, green, and red LEDs, and also a 220 ohm resistor. So this wiring is going to be similar to Tinkercad, but not exactly the same. So because we have like the physical build, we can kind of play with the wiring a little bit easier than we can in Tinkercad. So we're gonna have all of kind of the short legs of the LEDs. Remember, these are the ones that go to ground. This is our cathode. So all the short legs are gonna be in the same row, and then all of them are just gonna go to ground through 1 resistor instead of using 3 resistors. So we're gonna go ahead and insert our red LED into the breadboard. So we've got our short leg, which is our cathode. Remember, that one's the one going to ground. So I'm going to go ahead and put the short one in 10 and the long one in 11. So there we have the short leg of the red LED in 10, the long leg in 11. And now we can take our yellow LED, and because we're just going to use 1 resistor, and the short leg of the yellow LED also goes to ground, we're going to put that in the same row as the short leg of the red LED. So that's going to also go into row 10, but the long leg now is going to go into row 12, because that goes to a different pin on the Arduino. So we need to make sure that's in a different row than the long leg of the red LED. And then lastly, we've got our green LED, which is going to do the same thing. We're going to put the short leg in row 10, and then the long leg this time is going into 13. So now you can see we've got our 3 short legs of our LEDs all in the same row in row 10. Then we've got the long leg of the red LED in 11, the long leg of the yellow LED in 12, and the long leg of the green LED in 13. And then we can go ahead and take our 1 220 ohm resistor, and we can insert that into row 10 with all the short legs of the LEDs, and then just go to ground. So now the short legs of the LEDs go to ground through this 220 ohm resistor. And then our last step is just to take 3 jumper wires and connect the long legs of our LEDs to our Arduino. So I'm going to go ahead and take 1 jumper cable and go from the long leg of the red LED, so that's again row 11, and insert the jumper there, and the red LED goes to pin 4 on the Arduino. And then we want to do the same thing with the yellow LED. So the same row as the long leg of the yellow LED, we can insert a jumper, and then that's going to go into pin 3 of the Arduino. And then lastly, we just have our green LED. So same row as our green long leg, And it doesn't matter which pin you put this in, so I could put the jumper here or here or here, right, because they're all connected. So it really doesn't matter which one I put it in. So I'm just going to put it in this one just to give a little more space. But it's still in the same row as the long leg of the green LED. And then that one goes into pin 2 on the Arduino. So we've got the red long leg going into pin 4, the yellow long leg going into pin 3, and the green long leg going into pin 2, and then all the short legs in the same row going to ground through this resistor. So that is our fully wired west side LEDs, and we can go ahead and move on to wiring our servo.